Sergeant Cody Forster is in the house. Cody, how are you?
I'm pretty good, man.
Welcome home.
It's good to be here.
Sergeant Cody Forster is in the Marine Corps. He's home on leave. So mom and dad brought him down. We're going to drive him to the airport so he can go home. You're currently in what? Just outside Salt Lake?
Yeah, Salt Lake City, Utah. So
beautiful. Do you like being there?
I love the desert. I love western Utah, going out towards the Tooele area, and then you hit Windover, and then I cover the Elko, Nevada area all the way out to Winnemucca, which is the middle of upper northern Nevada.
All same terrain, different types of terrain? What?
Well, you get the salt flats, and then past the salt flats, it's just desert mountains. You know, you hit, what are those, tumbleweeds?
Yeah.
All the time.
They're real.
Yeah, I try to hit them all the time.
So it's just not like, it's not like in, movies. It's a real thing.
No, these things are probably like 15 pounds.
Holy crap. You shared something today about the actual Salt Lake. Oh. Tell me about these shrimp.
Okay. So what I've been told is, so in the summer, I got there around this time last year. And when I was there, they're like, oh, the Salt Lake smells. I was like, no, it doesn't. And I drove out there and I rolled down my windows. I couldn't smell anything. But this year, I've been here for a summer, like a hot summer, like 100 degrees. And then now it's really stinks because these shrimp, apparently it's the only, I made a joke towards you. I was like, yeah, I go fishing all the time in the Salt Lake. You're like, oh, what do you catch? I was like, you can't.
And then I remembered you could just literally lay there and float.
Yeah, you can, but there's these little shrimp. This guy told me there's these little shrimp in there that all they do is mate with each other, and then they die, and it stinks so bad. And I drive past that twice a day. At night, I'll have my windows up, vents blocked off.
Oh my gosh!
Have you ever seen the movie The Happening?
Yes.
Yeah, man, I blocked. Like,
nothing's coming in.
I'm like, dude, come on, right? And it still stinks. And then I rolled down my window because that's human nature. You gotta.
Oh, I mean, you have to have you got to. I mean, dude, it's like when you're driving by like a big cow farm or something.
Yeah,
you gotta roll the windows down and smell that manure.
Yeah, there's a really bad one in Nebraska. Let me tell you that, off of 80. My dad was always telling me, he's like, man, watch out for the midnight train and the cow farms. Man, soon enough, I remember it hit midnight, and I smelled the cow farms, and then I saw the big train.
There it was.
Yeah, it's about 1.5 miles long.
Oh my gosh.
Of both. So
I think it's pretty cool. You have a pretty unique situation. So hang on, let me narrow this down. Do you live in a house?
No.
Do you have an apartment?
No, I actually live in a camper.
All right. I think this is awesome. Share what you do. Share what that whole situation. I think it's great.
Okay. So I live in a 30-foot toy hauler. It's a 242 Sandstorm. It's pretty legit. It's got a generator built into it with solar panels, but I'm jumping around KOAs all over Utah within like a reasonable driving distance. And, I just hook up. So I got a generator that never gets used, and then I got solar panels that, just charges my batteries.
Where do you stay with the camper
at? Down in Provo, just south of Provo, Springville.
Is it a national park, like a campground type setup? What is it?
It's a KOA, so it's pushed up. It's right off of I-15. It's pushed up right against the mountains in the little town of Springville. Yeah, it borders a national park, but I haven't visited it.
No, but you've done quite a bit of exploring. I mean, obviously you drive a lot, but like you've done exploring out there.
I have. I go on a lot of like trail runs, right? And there's a couple of them that's like I'm from Northern Michigan, where it's just pine trees and hill, right? The biggest hill was in Clare, and these mountains though, because I've been stationed on the East Coast, and I went and saw my buddy in Tennessee, and I was like, wow, mountains, they're legit, right? The Smokies, right? The Appalachians. Then you come out here to see the Rockies, you're like, holy smokes.
Whole different ball game.
Oh, yeah. Like, me and my buddies would drive razors up the Appalachians, and I can't imagine doing it in the Rockies because you're just like, holy smokes! And these aren't even the biggest mountains out there.
How big are on average these mountains that you are hiking? What's a good estimate?
Estimate like to the very top.
Sure. And then are you hiking all the way to the top on a lot of these mountains?
Yeah, like I'll start off running just a slow jog, like a what do we call it? Like a ruck run.
Hey, for everyone listening, a slow jog. He was telling me about some physical training he has coming up, and he has to run 3 miles in under 27 minutes or 28 minutes.
Yeah.
He runs 3 miles in about 20 minutes, so light jog might sound a little different. Can mean a lot of different things to a lot of people. But anyways, continue.
Yeah, I've had 4 leg surgeries as well, so I pay the price afterwards, right? But to describe how big these mountains are is, in July I was flying back to Salt Lake from Michigan, and I had phone service high in the sky still because we just passed over a mountain. I was like, no way.
Man.
Yeah, I think I sent you a text.
Oh, yeah, you did. Yeah, while you were still in the air before you even landed.
I was like, whoa, all right.
I think, and I'm going to include this picture, on one of these hikes, you saw a, what was that? The white...
the mountain goat.
Oh, my gosh,
man,
yeah.
I was about 10 feet away. It scared me. I thought it was going to, because we have goats at our house, and these goats, the boys would, cause we get their horns like burned off, but I thought this goat was gonna charge at me. I was like, dude, come on! I have a knife on me. I have like a 5-inch blade on me. I'm like, dude, I'm Rambo this.
Yeah, this is gonna happen if it needs to go down.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave with a set of marbles pretty soon, right? Hang them up on the tree,
Get your man card.
Yeah, for the birds, right?
How high up were you when this happened?
I was about 8,000 feet elevation.
Dang.
So it's a beautiful sight. It sucks climbing up because the trails constantly, from erosion and stuff, the trails are going away, but on the way down, it just felt so much better. Just because you're like, oh, wow, it's all downhill from here, right?
It is breathtaking. Being out there,
and it definitely is. You got to take out your phone and send it to pictures to you guys and stuff. Be like, hey, look what I'm doing, right? But it sucks. I've had those 4 leg surgeries, and I'm like, when I walk, it feels like there's a sniper off in the distance all the time shooting me. I'm like, dang, right? Because I'm just so clumsy when it comes to that stuff. Like, I'll twist my ankle. I'm like, oh. Another pop.
Yep. Hey,
I'm gonna have arthritis at the age of 30.
Come on, man. You're in shape. Just to paint a picture here, especially for all you ladies listening. Sergeant Cody Forster is what are you, 6'2", 6'3"?
I'm 6 foot.
6 foot. I don't know, you seem taller than that, but 6 foot, we'll go with it. Maybe like 185.
Yeah.
185. He's in shape. He's being modest right now. He definitely gets it done. He was just telling me a story where him and his buddy went up, was it like 14,000?
Yeah, so can't even pronounce these places. Like, I thought Provo, I thought that was like short for Providence or something, right?
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. But I was like, why is everyone calling it Provo? But it's like Mount Tigamosa. I don't know. I don't even know. But I saw this one kid post on social media. He climbed up, and I'm like, man, if he can climb up to the very top, it's like 14,000 feet elevation. I can do it, right? I'm a doer. That's just who I am.
Yeah, for sure.
So I text my buddy at like 2 a.m. I was like, hey, man, we're going to do this. He responds right off the bat. He's like, okay. He's like, be at the office at 1. I said, all right, sweet. I'll do it. So we get there at 1. He just got back from the gym. He just did legs. And we didn't have breakfast. I just had a protein bar, and I got him one. And we both had a energy drink, a Monster, to be Pacific.
A Monster.
Yep. So I got 6 bottles of water, 3 for each, and we just drove out there. And it turned out to be an hour 15 drive. We got there around 2:15. We stepped off at 2:30. It's when we signed our little name on the trail list.
Oh, right? Yeah. I mean, you got to do that.
And they're like, oh, how far are you guys planning on doing it? And I'm like, to the very top. And everyone's like, man, y'all are crazy. I'm like, what? So they're like, yeah, just to get to the Glacier Lake, it takes about 7 hours. So I was like, I'm having second thoughts at this time. But my buddy,
Which is not common for you.
yeah. my buddy Matt, he's like, we're gonna do it. I was like, all right. So we started off. I'm playing music. He's got the speaker, right? Speaker dies like 2 hours in. We're like, oh, great, right? But we kept on seeing people come down, and we're like, hey, how far to the lake? They're like, yeah, you still got about 3 hours, bud. And I'm like, what? I'm already through about 30 minutes in. I'm through a bottle of water.
So, tell us. So you went with, what'd you say, like three? How many water bottles a piece?
6 bottles,
three a piece. No food.
No food. So it gets better. I left this out. So we're climbing, right? I'm sitting on a rock at this point. I'm like second guessing life. And he's like, come on, man, we're almost there. I'm like, yeah, that's what they said like 2 hours ago, right? And so we get up there, and we see this group of people. And my buddy Matt, he's good with his words and stuff. He's like, yeah, he starts talking. He's like, yeah, we messed up. We didn't bring any food. They gave us trail mix. They gave us trail mix and Swedish fish, right? And I'm one of those guys that I hate taking things, right? I hate, like, if people are giving free handouts, I don't like that stuff. Because I got to earn it, And I'm like, man.
And at this point, you apparently did not feel like you've earned it.
He's like, all we brought was drinks. And they thought they brought alcohol, so it was like a fair trade, but my buddy Matt reached back in the bag for a second handful. I'm like, dude, come on.
Oh, my gosh.
And we ended up seeing this lake. It was like 5 minutes over that hill. And it was the biggest waste of time.
Right? So waste of time as in?
I thought it was like a hot spring, right?
Okay.
And it was about a 3-foot lake. People were like camping up there and stuff. And then I was like, man, we had our shirts off because it was like 90 during the day.
Dang.
Right? It's like the desert.
Yeah.
But when you get up there, it gets cold because there's still snow at the very top of the mountain. That's where we were going. I got my little my fleece out from Badlands. Trademark. No.
Nice plug.
Yep. And I wore that all the way back down. We got back down around like about 8:45, and we took off to the nearest Texas Roadhouse. So I dropped about $80 on a steak, shrimp, mashed potatoes, and like three bins of buns.
I mean, you didn't eat all day, burned all those calories.
I know.
Body just needed stuffing.
And then I just went home and fell asleep.
What's your all right? So obviously we've talked about the fact that you're in the Marine Corps, but put all that aside, right? So you have an opportunity right now. You're essentially living in the wilderness in a very nice camper. So we'll say you're not roughing it per se, but you're doing a lot out there, as in you're exploring, you're getting involved in nature. What is your favorite thing so far that you've done in the element?
I like going out to Nevada a lot. I like going out to Nevada because it's kind of like, it's country. It's away from the city. It's away from Salt Lake because Utah right now is growing. Everyone's coming in from California and just different states. And everyone's going there. And I like going out to the middle of nowhere, Nevada, because it's kind of small town USA and there's a bunch of gold mines around. So it's like blue collar workers there. I just like being I don't know. I like seeing new places, but I like seeing new places that like no one would ever expect to see, right? So
yeah, I mean, most people, the places you're going to, most people, if they're like traveling or going to a destination, is not what you're. I mean, you're experiencing the things you're not hearing about. People rarely talk about.
Yeah, like I went to this high school the other day. It was like undiscovered. It was about 2 hours south of Elko, Nevada, and it's a class size, senior class of like 15 kids. But their gymnasium is a college basketball gymnasium because there's 3 gold mines in the community and 1 copper mine, and they all donate to the only school in the county.
Wow.
Yeah, so this gym is crazy. I walked in there and I was like, what?
State of the art.
Yeah, man, I graduated with like 89 kids, right? And my gym had those pull-out bleachers. These bleachers were like...
with the dark wood.
Yeah. With the double rim basketball. Yeah, man, these had glass backboard, like really nice glass. I was like, wow. And then like it's a one bar / casino because there's casinos everywhere in Nevada. and then just like one gas station town and a grocery store I couldn't find. I was hungry. I was like, oh. went to a gas station, you know, my favorite roast beef sandwich, cold roast beef sandwich. That was made 12 days ago, right? And the next shipment of products is coming in, so that's my favorite part.
All right. Hey, I love it. So feeding off of that, so we've had some pretty interesting conversations over the last several months because you're starting to, you're starting to see places you never would have seen if you weren't doing what you're doing right now for the Marine Corps. You're talking a lot about, like, you've been looking at land, thinking about your future. Obviously, you've, in sharing this with the listeners, you're going to make a career in the Marine Corps.
Yes.
But you have a lot of goals and aspirations between now and then and after, right? So tell me more about that.
Okay, so, all right, I really, really want to buy land out in Northern Nevada because I passed a sign once when I was going through BFE, and I was like, 5 acres of land for like $4,000. I was like, dude, there's nothing out here, right? So, or I've been looking at Wyoming. I really want like about 40 acres of land, and like I could buy one of those sheds from Home Depot, the ones that are already built.
Yeah, the prefabricated
down there.
ones.
I could buy a big generator, solar panels. I don't know how I'm going to get water, but
we can figure that out after you got the land.
Well, I just want the land because eventually I don't want to raise cattle. I don't want to be that like cowboy. I don't want to be like that rancher off Yellowstone. I want to do pigs, and I want to do chickens. I want to have a big chicken farm.
That's awesome.
All right, make some side hustle after that, but after my short stint is done in Utah, I want to go back to North Carolina. And North Carolina or South Carolina, because I enjoy the South. I took it for granted when I was there.
Dang.
But I could see myself moving back to Michigan, but at the same time, Wyoming or Northern Nevada. More likely Wyoming, because I've only been there for it was like a 2-hour drive through.
Yeah, man. I mean, I can relate to this just when Brandon and I went out west on our fly fishing trip to West Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
First time I've been out west many of times, but in that type of, like, in that way.
Environment, because there's no one there, and it's like America's treasure.
Yeah,
right?
like
everyone wants to go to, I want to go to California. Man, I've been to California, and that's a vacation spot. Like, I never want to get stationed out there unless it's like my going away. My final tour. Like, I wouldn't mind going down to like Yuma, Arizona, or just out in the middle of nowhere, because I don't really like the big cities.
When we were in West Yellowstone, besides when we were in the park, but when we were actually like outside the park, there were days where we didn't see anybody. It was incredible.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, I like that small town vibe, and like where I'm from, it's like you see the same people every single day, and then the same people end up coming back. Like, I don't want to be one of those guys. That's why I want to go out. Like, I want to experience stuff. I'm not really big into hunting anymore. I really want to get into boar hunting down in Texas.
Sweet.
I know a couple buddies, and then like I was right before COVID hit, I was actually scheduled to go down to, it's just about 45 minutes south of Atlanta, and me and my buddy were going to go hog hunting. It was like probably like a $500 trip altogether. It was like a weekend thing. It's a guarantee you get one. And I was like, dang, they would skin it too for an extra $100. I'm like, heck yeah.
That's a heck of an experience.
So yeah, I would have loved to have done that, but COVID ruined it. But I want to get into just hunting animals isn't fun to me anymore.
Yeah, no, I mean, you grew up doing that. You've had your fair share.
And like my dad got out of it too, and then it's just I never went on state land, or we always hunted in our backyard. We got about like 13, 14 acres, but I tell people that all the time. Yeah, I hunt in my backyard. They're like, what?
Yeah, people that are like, wait a minute.
Yeah, my neighbors never had any, right?
Yeah, for real.
I ate them all. No, I'm kidding. But I really want to get into that. Or, there's these weird animals out in Northern Nevada. I can't remember. One of my buddies showed me a moose that was in Northern Nevada the other day. They're like, this is I've lived here for 18 years. This is the first one I've seen. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. They got, what are those things called? Oh, man.
What type of?
They're not gazelles. They're, oh, my gosh.
Come on, Marine.
Oh my God.
Are they like a deer?
Yeah, they're like a deer. Oh man,
Sika
they
deer?
have like antelope.
Antelope,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, they have
Yes,
antelope
dude,
out there.
yes.
Yeah, man, I was just passing the Utah border, and I was just got in Nevada, past West Windover, where all the casinos are, right? And I almost hit one.
We're used to like hitting whitetail deer here, and you're
Yeah,
out there
yeah.
antelope.
Speaking of that, when I was stationed in the South, it was like these Marines would be driving around in their like Camaros or Mustangs and stuff, and they'd hit this fucking, they'd hit this dog, right? This dog had antlers. The deer down there is like,
Yeah, they're much smaller.
you'll get a 10-pointer, right? But the thing's the size of a beagle that escaped from the, someone put antlers on it. It would wreck these cars, right?
Yeah, they're a lot smaller. Like they're called key deer down in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
They're literally like the size of like a house dog.
Yeah.
But they can get like 12 pointers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's wild.
I remember my buddy, as soon as he got out, he went hunting season in Tennessee, and he got this like 12-pointer. He's like, biggest buck ever, right? And I was like, man, that's a golden retriever. I was like, what? I was like, man, I've killed button bucks. Well, I've never killed a button buck, but I've killed does bigger than that,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
I'm like, our does, like, oh man, you broke your fender off your Camaro, right? Our does go in the grill and keep on kicking.
Heck yeah, go through the windshield.
Yeah, and that's my biggest fear.
Yeah. You do not drive a Camaro or a Mustang, so
No.
I love how you put that in there.
I drive a truck. I can run those things over, right? Might hit my mud flap, but
So real quick though, when you say you're not necessarily into hunting right now, are you referring to whitetail? Because it sounds like you're talking about the idea of just hunting, but just different than what you've done in Michigan.
yeah, whitetail.
What do you think?
It's not. I don't know. I had mule jerky the other day. My buddy brought that in, and then I have elk meat in the freezer in Utah, and I'm just I don't know. I just want to. Deer aren't fun for me anymore because I just grew up my whole family doing it, and it's like, man, my biggest buck I ever killed was a 6-point. It had 4 on one side, 2 on the other. I'm like, man, but these things are huge.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know. I like fishing more because I'm constantly doing something. I'm not just sitting still. So
Cody's definitely like a high energetic person like myself.
yeah.
So all the noises in the background is literally Cody.
Yeah, me and my dad. When my dad fishes, my dad goes out for hours. Right, he kind of like got me out of the fishing game for a little bit because I'm like,
just get beat up, tired.
Yeah, because I don't want to sit on a boat, man. We get up at 2 a.m. We're at the boat docks at like 4:30. And we're out there till 6 o'clock at night. That kind of ruined it for me. He got a big boat my senior year, and then my brother grew up on that boat. I've only been on that boat about 8 times. He goes out every weekend, successful. When I go out with him, we don't catch anything. Right?
Isn't that weird how that happens?
I'm like bad luck. But what was I going to say? Like when I was fishing in the Carolinas, I'd go to the pier, and me and my buddies, I was telling my dad this yesterday. I caught eels off the dock. My 4.5-foot sand shark. You're not supposed to eat them, but
yeah, but just to catch them, hold one and stuff.
I ate them.
What, did you really?
Yeah, it was bad. So I did it the wrong way. I could have killed myself, to be honest. So for the listeners that are listening, when you catch a shark, you're supposed to bleed it out because their blood has mercury in it.
Okay.
All right. So not me. I didn't have a cooler or anything. I wasn't expecting to catch a 4.5-foot shark, right? And so I brought this back to the barracks, man. I threw it in the back.
Wait, hang on.
So
you caught a 4.5-foot shark and you brought it back to the barracks where you were staying on base?
Yeah. So let me explain more. So I had a 1980 Chevy Scottsdale, right? In the back was just a bunch of beer cans and a spare tire. And I had this metal pole. That shark came on dock. And it's like, we ain't got no lights here except phone lights. Man, I went to my truck and I got that metal pole, right? And I smoked it in the head like 3 times. So I threw it in the bed of my truck and I was like, hey man, we got to go. It's a 45-minute drive. Like, he's like, I want to eat it. I'm like, okay, sure. This guy's from New Jersey, right? Never gone fishing in his life.
Yeah, his mind's probably blown right now.
He's like, eat it, let's eat it. I've never, my dad, I grew up watching my dad fillet the fish, right?
By the way, your dad is a artist.
Yeah, I know.
At filleting. It is It's actually very frustrating watching your dad fillet fish.
I know, he's so good.
Oh my, he really is.
But so I grew up watching that stuff because my dad was like, I'll do it, really fast, right? So I'm like, all right, man, you got the knife? And he's like, yeah, I got it in my barracks room. I was like, okay, sweet. So we bring this back, and the shark's warm at this point, right? And I'm like, all right, whatever. So we put it on ice still, and then we give it like 10 minutes. And I start cutting this thing. Have you ever felt a shark before?
I have.
They're leather.
Yep, very leather.
Oh, my gosh. I didn't know what was meat and what was not. And my buddy Hoss, my best friend Hoss, he was gone at the time. So I'm filleting the shark all by myself. And I'm just butchering this thing, right? And, I start putting it on the grill and stuff. I'm like, well, I don't know if it's done or not, right? And he got some Old Bay seasoning. We start throwing this. It makes everything better.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, all right, shark's up. You want to eat it? He's like, nah, I'm good. What? And like, Hoss came back later that weekend, and he cooked it up better than me. He like put it in batter and stuff. Yum. Right?
Was it good?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, but I just remember butchering that shark, and I'm like, dang, that shark had no intent of dying.
No, he was just trying to survive.
Yeah, and I'm like, man, I killed that. I didn't need to eat that shark, but I had frozen shark in my freezer for the next like 2 weeks. So
just so you know, I've never talked to anybody that's ever had frozen shark in their freezer.
Yeah.
So, so you mentioned thinking about getting into fishing. Is this like a new idea, new thing?
No, I wanna make a few trips up to Montana. Ever since I wanted to go work in Montana for the longest time, and I was putting in requests, and I never heard anything back. And then I watched a show, Yellowstone. I thought that was pretty cool, and then I start looking it up, and it's about five hours north of me, and Bozeman, Montana. And I'm like, man, okay, all right. I wouldn't mind attempting to fly fish out there.
Dude, we're gonna be out there this year.
Yeah, I might make a surprise appearance out there just for like I leave on a Friday, come back Sunday night, but I wouldn't mind hanging out with you guys doing some hood stuff. No,
hood stuff,
I'm
hood
kidding.
stuff on the river.
Yeah, oh man,
I would actually. I think you would enjoy, because you mentioned like sitting on a boat. There's not a lot of like activity while you're waiting for the fish to strike.
Yeah,
like fly fishing is a constant.
Sitting on my dad's boat. If I'm like, man, like I haven't been to a tiny lake in so long, just because when my dad got his new boat, it was Lake Huron, Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
So
he knows his stuff though.
Mm-hmm. Every time I'm home, we have salmon, salmon or lake trout, right? But
yeah, fly fishing's constant movement though. Like there is a definitely like a technical way of fishing. I'm still a novice in terms of doing that, but I think you would enjoy it.
I'm not really good with those bait casters either.
All right, well, hey. Oh yeah, dude, that is practice.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I remember Hoss, he brought me one before, and I'm like, what is this? I'm like, where this one's broke. Or he's like, no, fool.
How many times did the line?
A lot.
Yeah.
And like Hoss is like my dad, my older brother, I never had. And he's like fixing it all up for me. He's like, he's got the marble red in the corner of his mouth, right? Fixing this thing with a phone light. And I'm like, dang, he grew up like river fishing.
Yeah, heck yeah.
So I got the privilege of going out on a boat and getting yelled at by my dad.
Hey, I just thought of something. You know how you said we're looking into getting like hog or boar hunting? Brandon and one of our duck guides, they're actually going out there in Texas in February for like a long weekend. They're going pig hunting.
From a helicopter?
Oh, I asked them this. They didn't say yes or no. I don't think it's from a helicopter, but I'm pretty sure there is night hunting involved. I've never done that.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
It'd be so sweet.
The helicopter, like I hate heights, right? But I'll go on a helicopter and plane rides all day. But
a Marine that is afraid of heights.
Yeah. Mountain climbing. No.
But you do it. I mean, not necessarily rock climbing, but like
rock climbing is not for me. I like hiking. I don't like rock climbing.
Yeah, but you're still doing it.
If you've ever put on those rock climbing shoes, they make you feel uncomfortable because the shoes are designed to be like a goat's foot. You know how the goats can climb up on the side of mountains?
Okay.
So your foot is all scrunched up, right? Like those Chinese.
Oh, yeah, where you're kind of like your toes are curled in?
Your toes are all curled up, and you're just stepping on those bones in your foot. I got bony feet, man. Those hurt so bad. And oh my gosh, it wears you out because you got to use your feet. You got to use your feet in rock climbing.
Yeah, for sure.
If you use your upper body, it's just going to get worn out by I was about 8 foot in the air, and I was like, get me down. My buddy's like, what? I was like, get me down. I start shaking and stuff. Man, heights aren't for me.
It's an adrenaline rush.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But you're like safe and secured, but I was just like not having it. I was like, yep, I'd have rather done a trail run, right?
Yeah. I remember we were, when we were in Yellowstone, to access this part of the Yellowstone River, we had to navigate this, like the side of a mountain. It's a different, like, you're like, yeah, you're all fired up, you're all geared up, and then you start doing the descend, and you're just like, holy crap, one, like, we're not hooked up to any safety. It's like one slip, one wrong move of one foot, like, you're just going.
That's what it was like climbing, just hiking up there. You know, the sniper out in the distance shoots at your foot, right? And you fall. I got these pants on, and I'm like, oh, man, don't get a hole in these, please, right? You know?
The Badlands?
Yeah. Trademark, right?
Trademark. Plug.
Yeah, they're expensive, though. And I'm like, man, I mean, they got the good return policy on it, but I'm like, man, I don't want to damage this stuff, right? But, yeah, my knees were all beat up after that.
Before we close this out, I think what you're doing is very cool. Living in just kind of, you obviously have a very structured life because you're in the military. But after that, after you leave, clock out per se, you get to kind of go float and do your own thing. And I think that is awesome. I think a lot of people want to do that, and you're doing it, right? Like most people, you don't have like a house or an apartment. Like you literally have your truck and your camper, and you're just like going out there and you're just living. I think it's awesome.
Boondocker for life.
Yeah, dude. I love it. Before you close this out, because I want to close this podcast out with a little motivation quote from Sergeant Cody. Whatever's going to come out of your, I didn't tell him about this, so you're going to drop us whatever comes, flows, new year. I want you to close this out, but I do want to thank you for your service, man. I know you don't like to showboat the whole military thing, but thank you for, doing your thing.
You're welcome.
All right, Cody, close this out, Cody. Give us some words of motivation. It's a new year. Lay it down.
Be a doer.
Until next time, signing off.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Network Outdoors podcast. We really appreciate your support. If you or someone you know find value in connecting with other outdoors people, please drop us a line. We'll get you plugged in. Be sure to follow us on social at Network Outdoors and subscribe to our email list to stay up to date with events and outings by visiting networkoutdoors.com. Until next time, signing off.